Hello, and welcome to a word of hope for September 14th, the feast of the exaltation of the Holy Cross. This follows well upon Sunday's gospel reading, where Jesus said to his disciples, "Whoever wishes to come after me must deny himself or herself, take up your cross, and follow me." The cross is a very significant reality in our lives. We must remember that at the time of Jesus, when he died on the cross was a sign of terrible shame and humiliation. It was a sign of terrible torture, and he was willing to endure that for our sake. But it would have been an embarrassment to the people who followed after him. He turned that embarrassment upside down and taught us the way of humility, which is the way of the cross. We hear that in the second reading today from St. Paul's letter to the Philippians, a reading that you know well, where Paul says, "Brothers and sisters, Christ Jesus, though he was in the form of God, did not regard equality with God something to be grasped. Rather, he emptied himself, taking the form of a slave, coming in human likeness, and found human in appearance, he humbled himself, becoming obedient to death, even death on a cross." My friends, we have to humble ourselves before all our suffering, don't we? We all have crosses to bear. We use that phrase all the time, "Lord, help me carry my cross." And when we look at one another, we sometimes see the crosses that one another have to carry in their suffering. There's a certain way in which our own suffering is a sign of the crosses that we have to bear. But there's a second meaning to bearing one's cross, and that is, in my understanding, a voluntary acceptance of a cross in living for others. In addition to the crosses we bear, which represent our suffering, we also have a voluntary cross in which we live for someone outside of ourselves. It's exactly what Jesus did. It's exactly what this feast of the exaltation of the cross invites us to pay attention again, close attention to Jesus. And even though he suffered, he also carried his cross for the sake of others. You and I do our own suffering, and we carry our own crosses that are sometimes thrust upon us. But even alongside those, we have the opportunity to voluntarily take up the cross of living for others. Let us use this feast today to remind ourselves of both the grace and the strength that comes from the Holy Cross. God bless you.